Hello, I am thrilled to have former Zimbabwe captain, current top batsman of Zimbabwe, Brendan Taylor, with us. Brendan, welcome to this chat. Hope you're doing well.
Thanks, mate. I'm doing fine, thank you.
Brendan, how big an impact was Alistair Campbell and his father in developing you as a cricketer?
Hugely influential, particularly Alistair's father, from a very young age, probably 6 or 7 years old. Um, I attended their private school about 40 kilometers outside of Harare, and I was a boarder there. And yeah, it was a very sporty school, and obviously cricket was probably the most popular sport there. And I just fell in love with it from a young age, and I was influenced by a wonderful teacher.
And you started off at a very young age in your first class career. You were a teenage prodigy, and you were almost rushed into international cricket. Do you think it all fell in place for you, or would you have preferred a bit more of a lead-in time into international cricket because of circumstances around you?
Yeah, ideally so. I mean, we're all thrust into the international arena far too quickly. I mean, to debut at 18, although we had some half-decent individual performances, realistically, 20, 21 years of age would have been ideal, because we came from an under-19 World Cup tournament in Bangladesh in 2004 straight into an international series. So it was a big step. But if I had played and I had a bit more experience with the Flowers and Heath Streak and Alistair Campbell's, Henry Longa's, that would have helped us a lot, because we started from fresh. I mean, I was a senior player at 19, 20 years of age, and that's just unheard of, isn't it?
Yeah, and how much did that set Zimbabwe cricket back in your view? That whole phase.
Say again?
How much did that phase set Zimbabwe cricket back in your view?
Yeah, I mean, well, we played 10 test matches from 2004 to 2005. I think we drew one, lost nine. I mean, we were not ready for it. We were miles off, and hence why we took 5 years out of the game, out of the test match arena, to rebuild our experience, our player pool. And then we came back in 2010 and won our test match against Bangladesh. So yeah, we were all out of our depth. I mean, in one day cricket, yes, you can be a little bit more competitive, but test cricket in 2004, 2005 was very difficult, and justifiably so. We took 5 years out to rebuild us.
And then you came into your own as a player. You hit a six off a last ball to win a one-day match, and then you took up captaincy and you scored 4 centuries in 7 Test matches. Was that the best phase of your career?
Yeah, for some reason, the best performances came out when I had the responsibility of captaincy. I thrived under that. I really enjoyed that challenge. Any chance to lead your country, every captain will tell you that it's a real honor to do that. And I loved every minute of it, and it got the best out of me. But I really tried to prepare as well as I can, and I always try and do that before every series. I try and maximize my training, and that gave me the satisfaction that I prepared well. So I go into each series with confidence that I prepared to the best of my ability.
And do you ever look at yourself becoming the Zimbabwe captain again?
Well, I mean, if I was offered it, I'd gladly take it. I mean, there's two current new captains in the moment, one day and test captains, but they are a similar age to me. So I don't see one of us going back in and getting it. They might want a younger captain for the future, which is fine. I mean, we've got a few more years left, and then they need to start thinking for the future. So I respect that. If they ask me to captain a series or for a year, no problem. I'd love to do that, but it'll probably be the right time to pass that on to someone else.
2015 World Cup, was that the most prolific one-day series that you probably played in, because you scored runs and especially you signed off the tournament with 100 against India, 138 of 110 balls. Was that the most prolific tournament for you ever?
Yes, definitely. I think so. I mean, it was different conditions. Being a World Cup with the added pressure of being a World Cup, playing some probably the best played. So yeah, it was just a wonderful tournament to be a part of, and to have some sort of contribution the way I did in a high pressure tournament was very satisfying.
And you signed off from international cricket at the end of the tournament. And there are reports that you got paid 250 Australian dollars for the entire tournament, and it made practical sense for you to move on to county cricket. Did you look at it from that point of view yourself?
No, I mean that to be fair, I mean I remember that news, and it was false news. At that time, we had a players' union that sort of just negotiated something with Zimbabwe cricket, and the players were paid substantially more than that. So it's not fair to say that definitely wasn't true. At the time, I had an opportunity to go to England to play 3 seasons, and at the time, I mean, I wasn't convinced Zimbabwe cricket was going in the right direction. So to go to England, I mean, yes, the secure part was that you felt club, a test ground, Trent Bridge, wonderful setup, good history, and I felt that Zimbabwe cricket at the time weren't offering that, and it wasn't that I did Zimbabwe. So I just felt that it was the best time for me to improve my personal game. The time I'd finished in England, I'd be 32 years old. I could always come back to Zimbabwe and I could still have another 5 or 6 years. So that's what I'm planning on doing now. And I'm glad I'm back.
And the reason you came back, what were the reasons that you would look as the reason that you came back? And also Kyle Jarvis came back. The two of you were key players and you both came back into Zimbabwe cricket.
Sure. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, Zimbabwe is my home. And, international cricket, there's nothing better than that. So I believe that I still had a lot to offer for Zimbabwe cricket. I'd missed the international arena. I loved my time in England. I learned a lot. I believe I came back more knowledgeable and a more well-rounded player. So it was the time to come back. My kids go to school here, so I spent a lot of time away from my children in England. They would fly back and forth. So I wouldn't see them for a couple of months because of school and my wife and etc. So it was the right time. I did my 3 seasons and it was the right time to come back. So everything fell into place the way I wanted it to. So I'm very pleased with that.
Do you remember a particular incident, and you're perfectly fine not to comment on it? I read something about your incident in Michael Whittaker's car. Do you remember that particular incident while you were playing for Nottinghamshire?
Yeah.
Celebrations and in a car. What was that incident like?
Well, yeah, I mean, we'd won a quarter final against, I think, Durham. We went out, we had a bit of a celebration, and I couldn't get inside my house. So my keys were locked inside the house, and there was a car parked outside my house that wasn't mine, but I didn't break into it, and I fell asleep in the back. It was freezing cold in England, and my wife wasn't there at the time, so I couldn't get into my house. I didn't want to break into the house, so it was one of those situations that I'd like to forget. Fortunately, it was all seen in good humor, but a fairly embarrassing incident, I think. Yeah.
And are you now looking also at the franchise circuit to be the franchise circuit to travel constantly and play all the leagues around the world like you're doing already? Because there may come a situation where in the past few years, Zimbabwe has not played as much international cricket as, say, some of the bigger teams.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, everyone wants to be playing on the circuits. All the best players in the world in the circuits, particularly the IPL. And I've done a few of them. I've done a few BPLs or PSL. I've been contracted once to Sunrisers Hyderabad. Unfortunately, I didn't travel over, but I was contracted. Tom Moody, it boils down to Zimbabwe cricket playing cricket, and we're not playing enough cricket. So we have a series, 3-4 months. We do nothing. We train in the nets. Then we have another series. So it's a very stop-start for us. And unfortunately, with this COVID situation, it's very unfortunate that we had a very busy schedule this year. And but in hindsight, cricket's not so important anymore because people's lives are getting affected, and it's a very sad situation. So at the end of the day, cricket's our job, yes, but when there's lives at stake, and that takes priority, and cricket will start eventually, I'm sure. But I think this is more important than just a game of cricket.
Where do you see cricket going in Zimbabwe, especially post COVID-19? Because there's going to be a recalibration of everything, and people are going to renegotiate and and adjust again. Where do you see cricket in Zimbabwe going post COVID?
Well, I mean, that's the big question, and all the players back here in Zimbabwe, we're asking. We don't know. I mean, we're meant to play Ireland now, Afghanistan already, and I think India were meant to tour. I think in August. Australia, we're meant to tour Australia. So now I feel that those now are being jeopardized. I don't see India coming. I think India will go. And that means that we potentially might only play Netherlands, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan much later in the year. So
Would you want some kind of an assurance as a senior player from the Zimbabwe board that there is some kind of competition, not just against, say, teams like Netherlands and Afghanistan, but also against, say, some of the bigger teams like India?
sorry, mate, I'm losing. Can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Please repeat.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
Yes,
would you want, say, an assurance or some kind of an agreement with the board where they are able to ensure that Zimbabwe team is playing against the bigger teams more regularly, even if it is restructured itinerary post COVID-19, because there's a feeling that everybody's playing each other, like Zimbabwe is playing Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and Ireland, and so on and so forth. But the bigger team, the opportunities are sort of drying up, and it could further dry up post COVID-19. Am I right in my assessment when I ask you that?
Yeah, I think you did right. I mean, that's the sad reality. Prior to COVID, is that we had all these guarantees. We had India coming. We had Australia away. We had massive. I can't say. I mean, we want the guarantee, but is it going to happen? I don't know. I mean, again, the high powers, the board, the Zimbabwe board, and ICC will have to make that decision. But of course, every player wants to be playing India and Australia.
How do you see yourself? How much longer do you see yourself playing for Zimbabwe? And what do you look at yourself? What do you look at doing post your playing career? Coach, commentator, administrator. What is your future hold for you?
Yeah, I mean, contractually, I have 1.5 years left, and if I can get through that, then I'd like to try and play another year or two more. I want to just take it 1 year at a time or one series at a time, and as long as I'm contributing, I'd like to go as long as I can. But realistically, maybe 2 to 3 more years, and then I certainly have my sights set on maybe becoming a coach. That's something I'm very passionate about. Commentary, I've done a little bit of that. I'd like to try and improve on that, and who knows? There's some options there. So, but I'd like to be involved in the game of cricket. Administration, maybe much later on in my career. So, but coaching and maybe commentary.
Thanks a lot, Brendan, and extremely thankful for your time in these desperate times of COVID-19. It was great talking to you and listening to you about yourself.
My pleasure, Chandrish. Anytime. Take care, mate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.